Today I'm going to be learning more about Finnish music, and this time it's the decade of the 1960s. So I've watched quite a few videos from this guy before. Go subscribe to his channel. He does a lot of great compilations of Finnish music, and yeah, I'll put the link to this video in the description so you can go get his channel and check it out. I've watched a lot of his videos looking at different decades. This is the 1960s now, after seeing pretty much every other decade, I think, up until this point. But not as old as 1960s. So be interesting to see how the music scene was in the 1960s in Finland. Obviously, like in Britain, it was the Beatles and some early rock and roll bands like that. So interested to see if there's any similar bands like that or just what the music was like. Let's check it out.
60-luvun video. Ja tällä kertaa nyt videon nimi onkin 50 hittiä 60-luvulta. Olen kuitenkin kerännyt tuolta Spotifyn puolelta kuunnelluimpia biisejä ja laittanut kans kaikki striimit tähän videoon ihan sen takia, koska mä oon nyt aikaisemminkin niitä tehnyt niin ja jengi varmasti kiinnostaa. Paljon niitä nykyäänkin kuunnellaan vielä tuolla suoratoistopalveluissa, mutta tää ei ole nyt kuitenkaan niinku 50 kuunnelluinta biisiä video, koska multa luultavasti jäisi useampi biisi tolta listalta pois. Ja ne, jotka on kattonut ton 70-luvun videon, niin huomaa nyt tässä, että siellä on toi Irvin Goodmanin Työmiehen lauantai tälläkin videolla. Ihan siitä syystä, että mulla kävi tämmönen virhe. Et siis oikeesti on julkaistu 60-luvulla se biisi. Mä katsoin Spotifysta jostain syystä jonkun kokoelma-albumin tai jotain, mikä oli julkaistu 70-luvulla. Ja mä katsoin, että se biisi on siellä. Mutta ei voi mitään, näitä sattuu. Nyt tää aloitus venyy taas ihan liikaa, niin eiköhän mennä itse videon pariin.
Nyt tunnen,
en ketään toista kaipaa milloin.
Like that type of music, tell me what that kind of genre would be classed as. I feel like when I hear that, it sounds quite uniquely Finnish to me. Obviously the accent, the language of course, but the kind of music itself, there's something very Finnish about it. So tell me if this was like a certain type of music that was like relatively unique to Finland. Esko Rakkonen, Siva Kuun Meri, and that's like the mid-60s as well.
Kevät on vallaton.
Kuljen taas kotiin päin, muistot nuo vain.
Sulle silmäni annan minne
Like that song there, I feel like I could hear that in like an old James Bond movie or something like that. That's some sort of music I feel like was quite popular at that time, but I kind of like that one.
Sulle silmäni annan minne tuuli tytön kuljettaa, milloin tuulen tuvan nähdä saa.
Kanssani kulkevan kauan.
Kauan, I feel like, is that song Downtown or something like that, like a remake of that? That's one thing I've noticed with some of the older Finnish music from the 60s and 70s. There was like remakes of songs that I've heard before, maybe like American or something like that, but it's like in the Finnish language. I think it's quite a cool idea, that one, making their own one, but it's like Kauan rather than Downtown. I think that's what that song says in the English version.
Sun kättäs mun pyytää, tein
Mä vannoin etten koskaan mene naimisiin, en rahojani Käkisalmen markkinoilta ennen sotia, väärän vitosen isä toi kotia, sanoi että raha meille on.
Again, that was like another one, that type of song, like I feel like it's quite uniquely Finnish. It's kind of enjoyable to listen to. Erwin Goodman there as well. Obviously, he first came to my attention in that like AI generated interview video, and he seemed like quite an interesting character. So it's pretty cool to hear some of his music here as well. And he seemed to be very popular in the 60s and 70s. For a long period of time, actually.
Ennen sotia väärän vitosen isä toi kotia, sanoi että
what type of music is this? That sounds quite 60s. I like it. It's like Tom Jones singing it.
Soi ja kahden olemme maailmassa. Kuin on potrisi tulta, niin sydämesikin.
Talon säteiden tie minut
Punaiset lehdet vahterasta.
Lapin luonto luo outoa taikaa. Se on
So it says here Tango. I think that was what it said in one of the previous ones that I mentioned. But so is this class as tango music? Is that what you would call it? Maybe, I don't know. But it definitely has quite a distinct sound. But yeah, there's definitely a few artists that are coming up a couple of times here. This Tapani Kansa for one. Tell me, yeah, have you got any like favourite artists from this decade? Yeah, I like that one.
yksi on jota palvoo.
Lähden stadiin.
No ala pitää vaan. Letkis täällä tunnetaan. Letkis meillä osataan.
Tango merellä soi ja sen mietenissä kotimaa.
Kauniimpaa löytää vain en milloinkaan.
Annan toisten mä talletella suuret setelit. Ne multa
Aja hiljaa, niin se nyt vain.
What was that? Was that an actual child singing? I mean, it's I kind of like in the album covers or the song covers here. It's like very of the decade. A lot of bold colours and just images of the singer themselves. But this one is quite cool to look at, man. Like quite fun. But yeah, was that a child that was singing there?
Aika haaveilun pääty ei meiltä.
Okay, that's what I think of when I think of the 60s.
Muistan ja loisteen
Naurat murheesi pois. Taas jos tehdä sen vois.
sä kuulut nousuun auringon ja liityt vaihtumaan.
Yeah, so that's one good. So another one, Tango di Amore. So I guess like this is a type of music. I feel like I know there's like a dance called the tango. I wonder if that's like similar to that type of music as well. Maybe that kind of makes sense actually.
Auringon ja liityt vaihtuvat päivät pois leikki.
I mean, that album cover could be made today and it would still look super cool, man. Passe Calnisto. And I feel like this is the sort of font people use today, like a lot of businesses and all that. It's very, very cool image. Tell me more about him, man. I like his style.
Ei kultainen nuoruus jää. Ajan ainaisin kiitolinjallain.
Yeah, another very unique voice.
7 kertaa 7 koetellut on.
Kun hänet tanssimaan sä pyydät noin. Puhelinlangat laulaa ja taivaalla loistaa kuu.
Kun menninkäisen pienen näki vastaan tulevan.
Kun aika on, niin saavuthan se silloin luo.
One thing I don't think I've seen any is I don't think I've noticed any groups on this yet. It's all been like either male or female solo singers actually. So maybe that's quite an interesting trend or something just to pick up on. But yeah, I like her voice as well. Very, very nice. A lot of great singers. Some very distinct ones. That was at Tapio Rautavaara. Yeah, like quite a commanding deep voice.
Siellä on kirppuja luteita teitä seassa
Polttaa kesäkatumiestä, kostea höyryä nousee tiestä. Polttaa asfaltin
Whoa, okay man, I like that one. And I've seen this guy Danny, his name pop up a couple of times. Like he clearly was like one of the biggest singers as well. But that's like, again, was that another melody I recognise? I don't know, but it just sounds like a cool song. Again, that's the sort of song I can see in like some 60s cool movie or something like that.
kesäkatumiestä, kostea höyryä nousee tiestä. Polttaa asfaltin
I like that a lot.
Muisto vain jää.
5 saunaan ja 6 putkaan, se on sellainen työmies.
Mä 3 linjaa takaisin kuljen. Aavan meren tuolla puolen jossakin.
Jo ilta tullut on, urut soi, kylä nukkuu, vain vanhan
Hopeinen kolo, merelle siltaa.
Ei tippa tapa ja ämpäri.
Yeah, man, Erwin Goodman definitely like a huge star. One thing I noticed as well is a lot of artists have like a one name, name, if that makes sense. No surname. Freddie, Danny. There's some of the female Carola. Was that like a thing as well? Was that a trend?
Ei huku.
So yeah, Erwin Goodman with the most popular song of the 60s, I Tippy Tappa. Cool name as well, man. But yeah, like, this is cool, man. It's like a great insight into, like, yeah, I said before, Finnish history when you hear music from this time period as well. A lot of music that had a similar style to what I would imagine from that time period in other countries, but also a lot that just sound very Finnish, and that's not just talking about the language, which I love hearing, especially on this older music. There's something about hearing the Finnish language. It feels like a lot more pronounced and like stronger Finnish language. I guess that's maybe something that happened in a lot of countries, like the way people speak becomes a bit more like similar, the sounds and things like this, but this was like very, very Finnish and I love it. So tell me what you think about these songs, about the artists, and yeah, recommend some other Finnish music videos. Thanks.